A lot less weapons than I was expecting.
I didn't bring mine to throw at the screen like everyone else did. And when everyone else got their weapons and threw them on stage, I felt like an idiot.
Me too.
I just had toast.
Well, Avery, we just got out of weapons.
We did.
I don't want to sound hyperbolic. This might have been my most anticipated film of the year.
Yeah, I kind of forgot it existed until it came out. I was super excited when I heard that old Mr. Cregger was doing another one, but that was in like November.
Yeah.
And I forgot until this week.
Yeah, me too.
So cool.
The reason it's the most anticipated film of the year for me would be solely on the back of Barbarian. Zach Cregger from White as Kids You Know, comedy troupe. I didn't really watch much of it. Neither of us did a ton. I've seen like a couple sketches. And then he had this career pivot from comedy into horror when he directed and wrote, I believe, Barbarian.
I think so.
Barbarian, I think, is just one of the most solid horror entries of the last 10 years. I absolutely loved it. I've watched it 3 times.
Yeah, Mount Rushmore of 2020's horror for sure.
I tell everyone to watch it. It's fantastic. It's funny, it's scary, it's interesting, it's mysterious. And so, of course, I was going to be excited for his follow-up in Weapons, especially because the posters are just a bunch of kids Naruto running, and there was kind of an ARG marketing campaigns, a lot of hype around this movie.
Yeah.
So I was very excited to go see it. Clearly, lots of people are, because the theater, both the VIP theater and the normal theater, were like sold out tonight.
Yeah, it is the first week, but like we've been to movies we thought were excellent and exciting on opening week and saw no one there. So this was
Great to see it getting some support.
doing very well in the box office by all accounts.
Let's tear the old Band-Aid off, Avery. What did you think of Weapons?
I thought this was really, really cool. I don't think it was like a absolute masterpiece, but I have a couple of things that left me a bit cold, but overall this is a really cool, clever, well-crafted picture with a lot of things done very well.
Yeah.
And a lot of things that I really, really liked. It was a very entertaining watch.
I think I'm right there with you. This is, I think, if I'm being honest with myself, I think I am disappointed, but only relative to the expectation that this was going to be like an instant Barbarian for me.
Yeah, it wasn't as good as Barbarian.
I didn't like it as much as Barbarian, but I liked it more than pretty much anything else I've watched for the last little while in the horror space. It was an excellent film.
Yeah.
Really fun. Really weird.
Really weird.
So many twists and turns that I didn't expect, much like Barbarian. So I really, really liked this. I can't say I loved it, and I do have some specific things I want to talk about that it might be something that I just need to sleep on, but there's some things I can't figure out about this movie that I'm excited to get into with you. But overall, damn fine film. It's scary, it's funny, it's got great performances, it's well-paced. You should go see it. We're gonna be doing non-spoiler for most of this because this movie is very spoilable.
Yeah, it is a mystery.
Yes,
largely.
so we'll be keeping it up within the part of the film that is basically the setup and not the solving of the mystery, and we'll tell you if we go into any of that. Because if you're interested in this movie, definitely see it unspoiled because this movie takes many twists and turns that you would not be able to guess in a million years. So
if we gave you spoilers, you'd be just baffled.
You'd
for
be
like
like,
3/4 of the movie.
they must
you
be
have no idea.
screwing with me. I'm just gonna have to go see it, but they're real.
Where are our children?
We have a lot of emotional parents here. I think it's best if you keep some distance from this place.
Lay it on me.
Yeah, this film is you'll understand perfectly. It exists somewhere between Longlegs, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, Prisoners, and Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. And people at home just draw the Venn diagram and just put a movie in the middle of that. That's all Weapons is. It's very simple.
The setup is that it's this small town where an entire elementary school class, except for one kid, have vanished in the middle of the night. They wandered out of their houses in the middle of the night. Now they're all gone.
It was like a specific time.
2:17, which is
2:17.
certainly a reference. It's a Stephen King book or something. I don't know. I'm sorry.
At 2:17, they all Naruto ran out of their front doors and into the dark, and were not found.
And now it's this little town. Josh Brolin is one of the kids' dad. Julia Garner from Ozark is the teacher. Han Solo himself, Alden Ehrenreich, is the local cop.
Ben Wong is the principal.
Yep.
Star-studded cast. And
all those I love that guy. Like, a lot of them.
But that opening mystery, what a setup.
Yeah.
What much like Barbarian, it's one of those setups where you're like, all right, I'm in. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta know, because it's such a weird thing. It doesn't play on any conventional tropes, or it feels like an urban legend.
Yeah.
It feels like one of those
It's a
SCP
fairy
files
tale.
thing. Yeah.
This is a fairy tale.
Yes. Good way to put it.
Every kid woke up, got out of bed, walked downstairs, and into the dark.
And I'm not going to spend this whole video talking about Longlegs. It's going to be hard not to bring it up, because Longlegs very similarly started out with a very cool mystery. There's a lot of DNA in common.
Yes. Yeah. I walked out of it thinking a lot about Longlegs as well.
The Pulp Fiction element, because I did mention Pulp Fiction,
Right,
is
yeah.
that this is a non-linear film where it's like 5 or 6 acts where you follow a character at a time, and it kind of goes back over itself, revealing new parts of it. And that's probably where I'll give the most credit to this, is just from that perspective. Throw out the horror, throw out the performances, just the writing of how all of these pieces interlock to kind of unravel the story. Good God, that's like Herculean. And for this guy, that's his second film.
I
This
know.
is crazy.
And this isn't a negative comment, but it's almost like it would have been so hard to do, and I'm not 100% sure it was necessary, but it was almost like...
No, fair. It was a flex.
Because like the movie would have worked linearly, I think, but
Yeah,
this
if you
really...
just like followed the cop the whole time, you could have got there.
You could have got there, but this brought that character to it, that it made it feel special. It's definitely one of the things that's going to make it more memorable, is that non-linear character act structure. Really bizarre. But I think this is Zach Cregger's DNA on the movie, because if you think about Barbarian, that movie is really odd in how it's structured, because
Yeah.
you have your very typical setup of these two characters interacting, and you're like, I know what movie this is. It very quickly becomes not that movie. And then at like 30 minutes in, I won't spoil Barbarian, go watch Barbarian, it's fantastic. 30 minutes in, there's a smash cut, and you will not be more confused than you are at that moment in Barbarian of like, where you're with a new character in a new place and you don't understand how it relates to the film before at all. So Zach Cregger clearly likes to do these very odd structured films where he plays with like the concept of what is a main character? Who is our main character? When does the reveal happen? He doesn't follow the patterns that you would expect at all, and that makes them feel really fresh, and Weapons does the exact same thing.
Yeah.
You can't guess where the movie's gonna go. From a character perspective, plot perspective, everything's thrown out the window from a conventional storytelling perspective.
I really liked that it felt like a progression of that. Because whereas Barbarian was kind of like, there's one big gear shift.
Right.
And then there's still some more twists and turns to it, but it's
I'd
really...
say 2, but
Sure.
yeah, but it's
I was
very discreet.
worried going into this, and I'm not going to spoil anything about Weapons with this statement, but I was worried going in that 30 minutes in, we were going to get one big rug pull again, and I'm like, oh, Cregger, you're doing the Cregger thing. They didn't do that.
No.
It felt like a progression where, you're right, it had the same kind of effect as those things in Barbarian, but it wasn't just like a Shyamalan thing where it's like, okay, I know when the twist is coming or the change of pace is coming.
Yeah.
It was more mature, it was more well thought out, and it did the same thing, but I wasn't ready for it.
That's a great point. It's almost like it wasn't gimmicky.
No.
But it was equally disorienting as a viewer, but done completely differently.
Yeah.
This is a true story that happened right here in my town. A lot of people die in a lot of really weird ways in this story, but you're not going to find it in the news.
What I want to kind of talk about that I'm very mixed on is the tone. This film really jumps between tones, scene to scene, like sentence to sentence sometimes. It is a horror movie. There's some real messed up stuff that happens. It's also very funny sometimes.
It is.
I don't know that totally gelled for me.
Okay.
I think that this is normally something I can get on board with, where a film is really jumping around. In this one, I think that I noticed a fair few moments where tension was diffused because I didn't know I was supposed to be scared. Or they threw a joke in where I did not think it was appropriate to throw a joke in. And like, it wasn't like a Marvel quip necessarily, but it was like levity where I was like, I don't know, Zach. I don't think that really fit there. And I don't know, like I know it was very much what he was going for, and it contributed to this seeming very kind of fresh and different. Like, this is obviously his voice, because Barbarian did some of that too, but I thought Barbarian did a better job of kind of keeping it like in the right lane. where a lot of the humor was centered around one particular character, and it sort of felt. Whereas with Weapons, I felt like, and this was maybe my biggest problem with the film, is that even within the individual characters and like one scene, it would go from scary to funny to quirky to like a mystery, and I was just kind of a little like, what are we doing here?
I think that's a very valid criticism that I expect that'll be something a lot of people do feel about this movie, because even in our theater, there were scenes where people were gasping in terror and other people were laughing.
Yeah.
I think that can be a problem for some people watching the movie. For me, it is a positive.
Okay.
There's a massive overlap between horror and comedy. It's the same part of your brain, right? The act of being surprised, that's what makes something funny. It's also what makes something scary. Like there's a reason that there's a pipeline of comedy creators into horror. Zach Cregger being one, but Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele, who famously fired his agent, I think, or producer for not getting him this film.
Really?
He wanted to make this film, and somebody on his staff did not get him the rights, and he fired them.
Oh.
Which I'd love to see Jordan Peele's take on this.
Yeah, interesting. But and then even like Bill Hader, not doing explicitly horror, but stuff with like Barry. Like there's a pipeline here. I love when people can straddle that line, and I love when I don't know if I'm supposed to be scared or laugh.
Right.
Because I think it's like the most unique emotion that a horror movie can evoke from me. And there were scenes in this movie where there are people Naruto running.
Yeah.
And you don't know if you're supposed to be scared or laugh, and you're experiencing both emotions at the same time. I really enjoyed that experience, and I think it's actually really hard to pull that off. But I do think it's something that's incredibly divisive and not going to work for everyone. Especially after coming off of us talking about bring her back and fuck you horror. This is like very far away from that. This is not fuck your day up horror. It's much, I won't say campy, but it plays with camp.
Again, it's a fairy tale.
Yeah,
it's a grim fairy tale, and
yes.
a lot of like double M grim. Like go back and read one of those books, right? They are silly and fun,
stuff.
And then someone gets their thumbs chopped off,
right?
Or they get eaten by something.
And it's playing with that space, which I didn't expect, and I think I had to adjust my expectations mid-film of like, okay, this isn't going to be like a dread-inducing film like even like Prisoners. Like it's not going to have that kind of the thriller element to it. It's doing something totally different, much more in the vein of like a Pulp Fiction, which was really hard to kind of get your head around. And then once I got on board with that, I had a great time with the film, but I think there will be that whiplash for a lot of people that go in thinking this is going to be the scariest movie of the year. It's not. I think it's one of the strongest films of the year that I've seen, but it's not the scariest movie you're going to watch because it's doing a lot more than that.
There are some sequences though that are.
Oh, there's some terrifying sequences, but it's not one of those like fuck your day up horror.
Right.
It's not fuck your day horror. It's
not. It's not
fun.
Misery porn by any means. It is fun.
It's a fun movie. Which, given the poster, the concept, the name, the ARG marketing that's like creepy footage of children running in the dark, you'd think you're getting a Longlegs type movie. And it's not at all.
And
it's like a popcorn flick.
I think there are some really upsetting sequences, but I think I would recommend this to a lot of non-horror fans.
60, 70-year-old couple next to us that clearly didn't know what they were walking into. And from her reaction, it was very fun to listen to. She doesn't watch a lot of horror. There's a lot of, oh God!
Yeah.
They had a blast. They loved it, and they walked out of the theater saying that was great. And I think this is a movie that can cross those barriers and really just be like one of those movies that kind of, it has something for everyone, weirdly.
It does. I guess that would be the biggest takeaway to enjoy this is you're not going to like every scene. You'll like the whole, and you're going to love some scenes.
Yeah.
Literally, no matter who you are in the world, you have to like a 10-minute stretch of this.
I want to know what happened in that classroom. Why just her classroom? Why only her?
Where are our children?
I love those kids.
So we're talking about comedy. I want to talk about the writing. This is now 2 films written by Zach Cregger. I think the strongest part of Barbarian, we're talking about Barbarian a lot, forgive us, but the strongest part of, not the strongest, but the reason that I got hooked in Barbarian is the opening sequence with the 2 characters just talking is riveting.
Oh yeah.
And it's before it's a horror movie, right? The horror hasn't started yet, it's just 2 characters talking in a room, and it's so well written that you are hooked for the whole movie and you care about the characters. You really care about them. He does that again in this movie. I was taken aback so many times by these little scenes. An early scene with the teacher and the cop just in the bar having a conversation.
Yeah.
Was incredibly written.
Yeah.
And it would have been incredible. It would have been a great scene in a non-horror film. It would have been a great scene in a Tarantino film.
3 Billboards.
Yeah,
It felt
or Three
like a scene
Billboards.
right out of 3
Just
Billboards. So
two
literally.
complex, interesting characters having a difficult conversation and navigating kind of treacherous waters. There's many scenes like that. Josh Brolin's in this movie, for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
And he has a bunch of great scenes. His scene talking to the cop equally was just this really well-written scene. And I think that's something that, when we talk about this film being something everyone can kind of enjoy, weirdly, that's like this underlying thing that you don't notice, but your brain does.
Right.
That all the characters are so well written and the dialogue's so good that it enriches everything else.
This definitely isn't just a horror movie.
Yeah, and if our character was a typical final girl type character or final guy, whatever, but a typical horror character, I think I might have fallen off this movie second, third act. To be like, okay, I don't really care anymore. Let's just wrap it up. But because it's like Josh Brolin and what's her name?
Julia Garner.
Julia Garner and Alden Ehrenreich, and they're all such interesting, complex, weird characters that have had such great scenes to flesh them out, that they kind of keep you along for the ride even when the horror dips off.
Yeah.
It's just like a good movie about people in a small town, and then the horror stuff's on top of it, but it's got such a solid foundation.
This wasn't like wallowing in the misery of having lost the kids.
No.
Most of the character stuff was like unrelated to the main plot. Like not
It was.
unrelated, but it was like, it wasn't about the horror. It wasn't about like the tension or the mystery.
3 Billboards.
Yeah.
It's like side quests. It's other
Yeah.
stories in this town that are tangentially related to the kids going missing.
And I think it's so funny. I want to read you this note that I had, which is that we now have a template for a Krieg burger, which is what I'm going to go ahead and coin. Which is, someone wrote a very good horror movie, but then fell for the characters and then spent most of the time just writing good dialogue for them.
Yeah.
Because like that's kind of what happened. Like if you cut out all of this, you'd have like a 90-minute fun horror movie that's pretty well executed.
Or if you cut out all the horror, you
Yeah.
have an hour-long drama about a small town, and
They're both just here.
They're both good,
Yeah.
but they're kind of at complete odds with each other on paper, but he finds a way to kind of marry them together to some extent. I think this is a very good segue to talk about really my main gripe with the film, is that the first half of the movie is a mystery, and we are following various characters going through their lives, and it's very much, it's the most 3 Billboards part of the movie.
Yeah.
Is like character A, B, C, D, their lives. Some of it's about the kids, some of it's their personal relationships, and it's all good filmmaking. And I was sucked into it. And then there's like a point 2/3 mark of the movie, which is where we're not going to go into details because this is where you can't help but spoil anything.
Yeah.
But basically where they reveal the thing. They talk about the horror. It becomes very much directly about the children and what actually happened, and they give you a lot of details and it goes into it specifically. And that worked as like a psychological thriller drama type film. It's more directly the horror, and it's very different than the first act or 2 acts that are more character driven, small town, interweaving stories. They're both really good. What I'm struggling with is I can't really figure out how they serve each other beyond just being solid components on their own.
They even like barely concern the same characters.
That's kind of what I was thinking about. And when I said earlier, like, I'm not sure the various storylines was necessary, it's like, that part was great. And then it was kind of like that movie ended. And then we got like another movie that was very different totally. And the characters we're with are different. And the whole setup kind of doesn't matter.
And then like the characters from the first movie just kind of wander in, but it's not like a payoff.
And I
for
care
them.
about them because of what we've gone through.
Yeah.
So they're independently great, almost like 2 completely great separate films. I'm not sure thematically and just from a cohesion perspective, like why they're in the same movie necessarily. And this is what I was saying at the beginning. I think this is what I might need to sleep on. Because I'm thinking there might be some things, I might have some aha moments in my dreams where I'm like, oh, all that character stuff with this was directly related to the final act in these thematic ways. Maybe I'll get there, but coming out of the theater 20 minutes ago, I enjoyed it all, but I don't understand how the first half supported the second half. And I think that's currently my gripe with the film that maybe I'll get over.
It's just kind of like if you took Pulp Fiction and then you made like Zed a werewolf. Just like what would that movie turn into? And to be clear, it's not a werewolf movie. But just like If you just took one thread of Pulp Fiction and made it a very well done supernatural horror thing.
And all the characters like kind of wander into it.
Yeah. And you just have like Vincent Vega just like rolling up, and he just like kind of sees a werewolf, and then he goes out about his business, and it's like,
it is kind of like that.
it worked. Like
It was all entertaining,
it was all good.
but yeah. And it's so hard to do both parts well that it's weird he pulled them both off, but it's also weird that I don't know how they're married together and why they're together. And I need to sleep on this. I'm not gonna,
for sure.
I'm not bashing the movie, but it was the thing that while watching it, I'm like, why did we spend so much time with the homeless kid and the cop and like why?
It is very similar to what my earlier gripe with it, where like I interpret it more as a tonal shift, but like if I were to map it out, the tone jumps are just when we're visiting the different of the two movies, right?
Yeah.
Because like, and it jumps between them like very quickly and very often sometimes.
And ironically, some of the sequences that I think play the least into the final act were my favorite parts of the beginning. Like the homeless kid story was probably my favorite single perspective. It was really good. Mm-hmm. It really didn't matter for the end.
No, not really.
Probably the least of all the characters. It had the least payoff.
Yeah, no, it's very Pulp Fiction-y in that sense, where it just existed to connect two threads.
And I don't even know if that's a problem, but it was one of those, it's like my brain's having a really hard time grappling with like loving a storyline that really didn't serve anything, at least nothing that I can figure out yet. So that's my, everything I don't really love about the movie is kind of boiled into that one thing, because beyond that, I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, no, I don't want to come off as overly negative, because I guess I'm trying to figure out why I didn't like love it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things on paper that I did love about it. And I think another part of it that sort of connects to some of the stuff we've spoken to, I love Josh Brolin and Julia Garner. I thought they were both great characters with good performances. I kind of left a little hungry for a bit more from their characters here. Not the performances, but like, I like the characters very, very much, and they didn't fit into the ending enough for me, and I didn't find either of their emotional payoffs totally satisfying, or what I was kind of looking for.
I agree, given how great their first act setup part was.
Like if I tell you a movie where Josh Brolin's kid's gone missing, you're like, oh, Oscar noms, baby.
Yeah,
and like,
he's gonna be chewing the scenery and...
Like he's in it, he's good.
He does a good job.
There's
a dream sequence scene that's probably his best part of the movie. But yeah, I do agree. Like the payoff for him at the end didn't really reconcile
like
with the strength of the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. I'm gonna have to really stew on this one.
This is a stewer, and I definitely want to watch this again.
Definitely.
I certainly think this would be a great rewatch.
It's a really fun one to watch with people who haven't seen it yet.
Yes.
Kind of a red wedding scenario, but the whole movie's the red wedding. It's like, you're not gonna guess what's happening next.
Those kids walked out of those homes. No one pulled them out. No one forced them. What do you see that I don't?
Show me. Where did you go?
There are some very good horror parts of this. We're dancing around it. We're not going to talk any more specifics. But if you are a horror fan who's like, oh, this sounds like a lot of character drama stuff, the horror parts are very good.
Really good.
Up on par with Barbarian. This dude knows his horror.
I kind of want to. I gotta check the director was Zach Cregger, but the director of cinematography as well. I'm curious if it was the same guy as Barbarian, because so much of the horror comes from the cinematography. It's subtle camera stuff.
Oh, there was good camera work.
But like, there's a scene where a character is looking down a hallway and it wants to see something, and they lean a bit further, and the camera perfectly peeks out to show you a little bit more, where you're like, am I seeing something? And then it cuts. There's such creative, floaty camera work.
Some of the
that's
tracking
really
shots,
kinetic. Too. Like it's very.
The tracking shot through the liquor store. Was excellent. That was really good.
And so many of those shots work in the character stuff, but then in the horror scenes, the camera's moving in ways your brain's not ready for. And Zach Cregger seems like he's a big horror fan, and I feel like he knows all their eyes are going to be here. I'm pulling something out of the screen on this side. I'll have the camera whip to it in a way that you don't expect. Like he uses the camera so creatively in the horror sequences.
Like coming from his YouTube comedy side.
Yeah.
Like we don't know what his kids super well, but presumably they were doing camera comedy, right? Like that's a big part of that.
Yeah, and it feels like that. Like very kinetic, almost like And there's some great like slapstick in this.
There really is.
That's what's...
I thought some of it was a little out of place, but I can't say it was bad. Like, I laughed. There was a bunch of times where I was like, ha, 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 wait a minute, I'm supposed to be scared here.
Yeah, and our whole theater was having the exact same experience. Let's get into scoring.
Let's do it.
Do you know what your score is? It's Green Takes. We're gonna do critical score.
Live, baby.
Live, we're doing critical score and then our personal score. I can go first if you have to mull. Are you mulling? Or are
I'm
you ready?
gonna mull. If you're ready, fire away.
Critically, I'm gonna give Weapons an A-.
Okay.
I'm gonna go A-. I feel almost bad. I feel like it... Here's some of my reviews gonna be. I'm giving it an A- because there's a lot of stuff in this that I'm still thinking about.
Right.
That I already mentioned. Thematically, there's some stuff that I don't really see how it all fits together. I'm not really sure how all the parts of the movie, although individually great, make a cohesive experience. But all the parts are amazing, and I had a great time watching it. So it has to be an A. I'm gonna give it an A- with the caveat that I might get this up to an A. I don't think it'll go to an A+, but I think I can get to an A with a couple good sleeps. If I start to draw some dots and make some connections and talk to other people and maybe read some stuff but other interpretations, maybe I get to an A. But for where I'm at right now with kind of not... I'm not totally sure-footed on this movie, but I had a great time with it. I'm gonna give it an A-. And personally, I'm gonna keep it an A-. I think, as I say sometimes, I think this movie was pretty much tailor-made for guys like us, and I think I got everything out of this movie that I was supposed to. So personally and critically, I'm gonna give Weapons an A- for today.
All right.
I might update that later, but...
I think that's very fair. I'm gonna end up in a lot of the same zones with you. I think critically, I'm gonna give this an A. I think that it just pulled off a lot of stuff really well. And if I'm honest about most of my qualms with it, they're not objective ones, they're personal ones. I think the fact that they did something that's this hard horror that I would recommend to almost anyone that was genuinely funny, that had this many actors that I really like, that did this non-linear thing. Like, even if everything else was bad, like if this was just like a bad like Nicolas Cage gangster movie that did that non-linear interlocking script, I'd be like, that was pretty cool.
It's been fine, yeah.
That was cool. Like, just that was really cool.
And there's just also a good horror movie.
And also like 6 other things. It was so I'm giving it an A for pulling a lot of it together really well. I don't think it was an A+. I agree, but I'm giving it critically an A. Personally, I think I am gonna leave it an A-. I think I almost went down another one just because I thought some of the horror with a couple of small tweaks could have been way better.
Okay.
I think there was a lot of common DNA with horror movies that I really liked, and I just, there was a couple points where I'm like, I didn't like that quip. Don't cut away there. Use that character a little better.
The tonal mismatch.
Yeah, and I found that a little bit frustrating, and that's the big thing knocking it down for me. But I am going to keep it as an A-, mostly because of how excited I am to rewatch it. Like, I really want to rewatch it. That doesn't happen a lot with me. Yeah, critical A, personal A-. Good job, Zach.
Good job, Zach. We'll be at Resident Evil opening night, and I'll be dressed like Leon Kennedy.
We'll be dressed as Lady Dimitrescu.
That's going on Patreon.
This is where the story really starts.
Speaking of Patreon, we have one. You can check it out if you want. There's all kinds of fun stuff over there, extended stuff, deleted scenes, teasers for what we're going to do next. You know the drill. Also, please like and subscribe if you haven't. We are only but a wee channel. Although we've had lots of growth recently, we appreciate all of you watching this, but if you give us a like and subscribe, we're gonna be Weapons soon. So think about it that way. And until next time, Naruto run out of your house in the night.
What do you see that I don't?